on
Yeah.
that point, I think many of our readers and listeners, in fact, I didn't know this till I talked to you about this. They won't know that when the Israelis, if you are able to persuade them to release a body, they always do it in such a way that the body is splayed out, all still like not we always imagine a body like in a morgue, with a sheet and stuff like that. That's not how they return the body bloody and muddy and dirty and frozen and in contorted and terrible shapes, right? It's part of this continuing abuse that you're talking about.
In the cases that I dealt with, in the cases that, and I'm talking about occupied East Jerusalem, actually in one case it was in Nablus where the legs were in a certain condition that there was no possibility of burying the martyr. In one case that I personally was following up and dealt with, and we were 7 months in the courts trying to convince the court to release the body of Hassan Manasra, and Hassan was 15 years old. When they released the body, the father could not handle what he'd seen. I've written about it. I have an article called Persistent Faces, because the father came back telling me, Doctora, his mouth was open. He was talking. Maybe they closed the black bag while he was still alive. His eyes were tearing. He was crying. Maybe, and then the feeling of the father that there's something he failed in protecting his child, even in his death. And after 7 months of struggling with the Israeli police and court to release the body of Hassan, Abu Ibrahim, his father, came to, because they asked the father to recognize the body. And of course, after putting million conditions, only 23 or 33 people, you can't have your phones, you can't have this, you can't have that. Until we managed to reach there, he goes into the ambulance to see the body, and he sees Hassan's face in a way that he could not take him. And he said, no, this is not my son. And he returned the body back. Now, according to Islam, ikram al-mayyit dafnu. If you want to respect the dead, you need to bury them. So everybody was upset at the father. How dare you return the body after someone, like, you need to respect your son. But then when talking to the father and listening to his narration, and his narrative is what usually my compass is people's narratives. I don't look at laws. I don't look at, this is as a person who works in the criminalities of the states and basically in criminalities in spaces of death. This is where you see that the penology, the punishment is not only of the living, the punishment is of the dead. So in the last case, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, talking to the parents and asking, this is why I asked Francesca Albanese, who's a UN rapporteur for the occupied Palestinian territories, can you please help me release Wadia's body? Because his parents are requesting this, and because they need to give him the proper barrier, because this is a child, and a child that is dead in the freezers. There's no need. And this, I call it in my writing, necropenology. It's penalizing the dead, but it's actually penalizing the family, penalizing his classmates. And it's increasing this feeling of being oppressed and dominated. So this is Jerusalem. While in Gaza, you see genocide. You here see what I call in my writing, ihali. It's the attack from all sides. It's the attack even over the dead body of Wadia Alayan. And Wadia, mind you, is the third in one family. They're cousins. His Baha'i Alayan was his cousin. Ahmad was a month before Wadia was shot and killed. And now Wadia, 14-year-old. So you wonder how much a family can handle. And I went to the family, I was looking at the faces, and I know those faces. Every funeral, I end up seeing the same faces. So this is Jerusalem. Jerusalem is packed with agonies, and it's, I don't know how to put it, but it's on so many levels.